Hello.
Good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. We're coming live and via recording from
Grab
the
a snack.
Seneca7
Get comfortable.
control rooms. We've got our potato chips, we've got our Snuggies,
Tea.
and we are prepared to do this virtual pre-race briefing for the 2022 edition of the Seneca7. Thank you for coming back with it, joining us. Thank you for watching this. It's going to include everything that you need to know for race day. And you're actually required to watch it as a team. So thank you for coming. This is our 13th edition. We started in 2011. We missed the last two. We missed you because of COVID. And so we consider this the 13th edition and the 11th live edition because we had virtual editions the last 2 years. So our theme this year is This One Goes to 11. We do have a little housekeeping to do with COVID. It's still a thing, even though there's other things going on, but people still get it. It's still dangerous, and we still want to be careful. So on Saturday, April 23rd, your one team member is required to come to the Finger Lakes Welcome Center in Geneva between noon and 3 and pick up your packets. Everybody on your team needs to be vaccinated. This particular person needs to show proof of vaccination when you show up. And you also need to be masked because you're going to be interacting with delicate volunteers. Many of our volunteers are older, and so we want to make sure that everybody's safe, nobody gets sick. So when you enter the Finger Lakes Welcome Center, have your mask on and your vaccination card out, and you'll get your goodie bag stuff for your team. Not everybody needs to come. Not everybody can come. We're only going to let one team member through the door, and make sure you get here next Saturday in Geneva. During the race itself, we want you to not congregate in large groups. That includes the start line, that includes the finish line, that includes the exchange points. Large groups are coronavirus vectors, so don't stand around together holding hands. And then at the post-race meal, we've had to curtail the finish line celebration a bit. We apologize for that. Blame COVID. The post-race meal will also be served out of the Welcome Center at the lakefront, just a few steps from the finish line. It's going to be grab and go this year. So you'll get your chili and you'll hit the road because we don't want people standing around spreading good cheer and good germs. We do this because your health and the health of our volunteers are our priority, and we want to make sure that everybody gets home safe and sound. Now, everything that you hear in this pre-race briefing, in addition, is everything you need to know, and it's also in written format with specific instructions in the course guide. You need to have a course guide on race day. You either can use, we have two versions. We have an interactive digital online version, which is already posted to the website. You go to the website, the front page says, there's a button that says course guide. That will take you to the course guide. There's also a printable edition, which you should download. You don't have to print it, but you should download it and have it at the ready, because there are some places on the course that do not have cell service. It's the middle of nowhere. And so you'll use the interactive version mostly during race day. It'll tell you your vehicle instructions. It'll tell you your runner instructions. It'll tell you how far it is to the next exchange, everything you've ever wanted to know. You might want to read it in advance. And it also, new this year, there's a little checkbox in the legend of the map that says, show me on the map. And so if you click that checkbox and you don't have privacy controls on your web browser will be able to detect your location and put your location on the map, so you can see how far away from the actual course you have made a wrong turn, and then get back to it.
And it may or may not send us your credit card number when you release those privacy controls, but we'll use it wisely.
We'll suck up everything and enjoy it. So yeah, so have that interactive map available on your phone or on your tablet or on your computer, and then also have the printable version downloaded so that you can refer to it when you run out of cell service in Sampson State Park, because there is no cell service in Sampson State Park, among other places. The course guide also shows you vehicle directions. Okay, sometimes there's the deviation. You can see on your screen right now, there's a red mark. That red line is where the vehicles go. You're required to follow the vehicle directions if you're in a motorized vehicle. If you're a bike team, you don't have to follow the vehicle instructions. You're a bike team, you get privileged access to the course. The runners will be following this brown line. So runners, you'll follow the brown line, vehicles will follow the red line, and that is to encourage safety so that there's not as much overlap over the course of the day. And then there are specific instructions. When you click on one of the exchange points, this little yellow marker, it'll blow up a little window that shows you the runner directions, the vehicle directions, and then, if needed, the cyclist directions for that particular leg. If we have race emergencies during the day, they will be announced via Twitter. At the Seneca7 is the handle. And then also on your race tracker, which I will be describing later in this pre-race briefing, the race tracker has a little area where special announcements can be disseminated. So after you log your time for an exchange point, make sure you look at the tracker, see if there are any notices for the leg coming up. That's where they will be announced, and you will have the information at your fingertips. We're also going to broadcast leg-specific alerts through the race tracker, so keep an eye on that during the day.
I just wanted to point out for people who were asking about parking in the city of Geneva before and after the race, that is included. If you go onto the interactive map, you'll be able to see where those parking lots are.
Yep, there are denoted parking lots for both the beginning and the end of the race on the map. Course markings. We have marked the entire course from start to finish with white pavement markings. In the picture here, you can see there's little footsteps, there's arrows that denote anytime there's a turn. So if you're coming up to an intersection and you don't see a course marking, keep going straight. Don't turn, that's an error. So these white pavement markings will be out there for you to find. Sometimes there will be lawn signs. In the picture here, you can see the lawn sign.
But not always, not at every turn.
Not at every turn, yes. This is only the case within the state parks. You run through 2 state parks, Sampson and Seneca Lake State Park. They prohibit pavement markings. So you will not see pavement markings in those parks, but you will see lawn signs, and you need to follow those lawn signs. It is your responsibility for knowing the course. So you need to review the course guide before you get out onto the course for your leg. If there's a lawn sign that is toppled over, blown away, turned around, mangled, or destroyed, it is still your responsibility to know the course, whether there are signs out or not, because we cannot guarantee the longevity of these lawn signs on the course. The pavement markings are easier to remain fixed, but the lawn signs sometimes wander away. Also in the state parks, you may see vehicle signs on the right. This is guiding your vehicle through the park. Vehicle signs on the right, runner signs on the left. Do not mix the two up, or you'll be overlapping and intermingling.
So at the exchange points, you're handing your slap bracelet from one runner to the other. The slap bracelets will be handed out at packet pickup. That's a change. You're not getting them at the start line. You're going to get them at packet pickup on Saturday. It's okay if you are so enthusiastic that you lose that slap bracelet somehow. It's slapped on your wrist. I don't really understand, but every year a few people lose their slap bracelet and think they're going to be disqualified. Probably not, unless there's a reason that you lost the slap bracelet, that, you know, you're going to the bathroom in the woods or something. But so usually losing the bracelet is not cause for immediate panic, maybe mild panic. But the idea of the exchange point is that you will enter that zone, hand off the slap bracelet to your next runner, who will then continue on their way. If you are at an exchange point with a designated crossing point, you'll know that because there will be cones on either side of the road. There will be a volunteer on either side of the road, probably yelling at you not to dash out into the road. Please, you must, I shouldn't make it sound optional. You must cross at the designated crossing point. If you egregiously dash across the street, our volunteers could take down your bib number and there would be repercussions. So take note. If you're not just inherently motivated to do the right thing and be safe, then let me make the utilitarian argument that you will be punished for violating. The parking areas will be separate from the exchange point, either in close proximity or a slight walk. But the volunteers can direct you to that. Some of the exchange points will have bathrooms. Most have porta potties. They will be marked. Some of them will be marked for the next runner or exclusively for cycling teams. Please abide by the markings because it's unpleasant for someone who is waiting to run to have to stand in line between teammates that aren't running for a while who could have gone and found an off-course bathroom somewhere. The course guide lets you know so you can plan out your porta potties ahead of time. And please, our volunteers are trying to move a lot of you and your bikes and your vans and your wonderful personalities through small spaces. And please be kind and generous to them and listen to their instructions.
Jackie noted that there are repercussions for the crossing point violations. Those repercussions are actually a complete and immediate disqualification from the race. We take the crossing points very seriously because sometimes we're on roads that have a speed limit of 55 miles an hour. They're state roads. And if you're hanging out in the road, you could get hit. So if you have a crossing point violation and you're notified of that during the race, you're out, done immediately, no questions asked. So pay attention to that rule.
And this is probably a good time to remind you that these roads are open. This is not a closed course. These are state highways that we're on. There is no special dispensation for our race for a reduced speed limit or for closures. So please be aware that you are on an open course.
Also be aware that you may see coolers on the course full of water. Those are for our cycling teams. Those are not for the general public, not for a motorized vehicle team. Because obviously, if you're a motorized vehicle, you have the capacity to carry much more with you. If you're a cycling team, you do not have the ability to carry a day's supply of water on your bike. So we need to refuel the cycling teams. So please do not drink from the coolers on the course unless you are a cycling team.
And one more note, there are only official team vehicles allowed at the exchange points. We have very limited parking. That's one of the constraints of this race. If you have spectators following you around on the course, that's okay. It's not great. That's okay, but they cannot be at the exchange points.
One vehicle only. All right, race morning dawns bright and early in downtown Geneva. And what happens race morning? Well, there with your team at least 20 minutes before your team's start time. Start times are currently published on the website under the participant list. So look for the link that says participant list and you'll find your start time. You are going to park in designated downtown lots. There's two very big lots on either side of the start line. So there's plenty of room for all the race vehicles to park in those parking lots on Seneca Street. They're noted in the course guide, as we mentioned before. If you're a bike team, don't forget to go to Trek Bicycle Geneva, formerly known as the Geneva Bicycle Center, on Exchange Street and drop off your special needs bags before your wave begins. And then when it comes time for your wave to start, about 5 minutes before your start, make your way over to the start line with your slap bracelet and get yourself into position. It's basically right across the street from the Smith Opera House. You'll find it. And then we have a shuttle bus that's going to be taking runners to the first exchange because there's not enough parking at the first exchange for all the team vehicles. So we have a special shuttle bus. Runner number 2 is going to board that shuttle bus in front of the Smith Opera House, which is basically across the street from the start line. You'll see it. And wait to be transported to exchange 1, where you will wait for your runner. And then runner 1 will be transported to exchange 2, which is Westlake Fire, and be reunited with your team vehicles. Another reminder, COVID is still a thing. Do not congregate in groups at the start. You may watch your teammate begin, but please do not be in large groups. You can spread out along the start chute and stay away from other people. Then the race begins, and we don't want team vehicles to skid out of the parking lot and careen up the road to Westlake Fire. You have basically 45 minutes to an hour to get there, and it's basically 7 miles down the road. So you have plenty of time. There's no need to rush. There's no need to hurry out of the parking lot. In fact, the first wave, the 6 a.m. wave, we're not going to allow to leave the parking lot until 6:15. And the second wave, which is the 6:30 a.m. start, you will not be allowed to leave the parking lot until 6:45. This is to allow the buses room to navigate and drop off the runners and pick up the finished runners. And this is also to allow time for vehicles to clear the exchange points, so we don't have a huge number of cars at Westlake Fire, which cannot accommodate a huge amount of cars. So the shuttle buses, a little note, the shuttle buses are for all the waves except the 8:30 and the 8:45 waves. You will not be using the shuttle buses because you're a smaller wave, so you can stop at all the exchanges, including the first one at Roy's Marina.
And just a note on the shuttle buses at Westlake Fire, I assure you, the bus will get your runner there. You don't need to crowd the bus. You don't need to ask the bus driver if they've seen your runner. They probably won't be able to identify them by sight. The buses know what to do. They will get your runner there. Your vehicle will move faster than your runner to the next exchange point, so you will have time to get on your way. So trust the process.
There's no urgency at the start line, basically. Very relaxed, very cool, chill, have a nice slow start to your day. All right, speaking of the shuttle buses, I think I just talked about this, but I'll go over it again real quick. The first 4 start waves, 6, 6:30, 7, and 8, you will take the shuttle buses. That means your first runner will be, your second runner at the start will board the shuttle buses and be transported to the first exchange, where they will wait for your first runner who starts at the start line and runs to the first exchange. Then that first runner, when they get to the first exchange, will be shuttled ahead to the second exchange, Westlake Road Fire, and that's where you will be reunited with your team vehicle. So everybody comes back together at the second exchange, Westlake Fire, and that's where you will proceed and be able to park at all the exchange points after that. Remember, the 8:30 and the 8:45 waves, in addition to the bike teams, do not use the shuttle buses. So don't get on the bus, and there won't be one at 8:30 or 8:45. And you are going to stop at Roy's Marina. Otherwise, you're going to leave your first runner behind. All right, now let's fast forward to the finish. We'll just go over some finish procedures real quick. When you finish in Seneca Lake State Park, you can see in the diagram here, there's a big grassy area for parking. And then there's a big parking lot at the Finger Lakes Welcome Center, which is where the post-race food will be located. So you can park in any of these parking lots. You can park on the grass. It's pretty tough grass. And then there's a team reunification point right here where your runner is going to be coming down routes 5 and 20, will loop around and head for the finish line. Before they loop around, your entire team, at your option, you don't have to do this, but most teams do. Most teams will wait at the team reunification point for your runner, and then everybody runs across the finish line together. One of you should have a timing chip on your bib. Not the entire team, just one of you. That bib needs to come across the finish line. Otherwise, you will not receive an official finish time. So make sure that that bib is not in your pocket and it's not near a cell phone so that it gets good read by the chip reader, and then your team will get a finishing time. Conveniently, the team reunification point is also near porta potties, because even though you have been going to the bathroom all day, every 5 minutes at every exchange, you still will desperately need these bathrooms right here at the finish. So you'll have your bathroom, you'll reunify with your team, you go through the finish line, you'll get your finisher medal, and then you'll walk across the grass. You'll walk through your team vehicle parking area. You'll walk to the Finger Lakes Welcome Center, and then you'll get your chili, and then you will head on out. All right, on the course, back on the course, there's a couple things to note. Much of this course is in the countryside. It's beautiful, it's scenic, it's tranquil, it's idyllic. It's also full of Mennonites with their horses and buggies. So horses and buggies travel more quickly than runners, but slower than team vehicles. So if you come up upon a horse and buggy, it will be in the shoulder, with traveling with the flow of traffic. You need to be very careful and go very slowly and proceed around that horse and buggy because you don't want to startle the horse and you don't want to cause an accident. So just be aware there are horses and buggies on the course. Also, there's a picture here with a gate. This is Sampson State Park. This is where you enter Sampson State Park. That gate will be there and it will be closed on race day. There is a little area next to the gate where a runner can pass through. Your team vehicles are not coming in this way. Only the runners are. It is okay to enter this way. You don't have to scramble over the gate. You can go around it. But if you get to a gate that seems to be closed, you are going the right way, and you should proceed into the park along the lakeside path.
You don't have to call us and ask us to unlock it. You can go around.
Yep. If you do find yourself scrambling over a gate at any point during the day, you are going the wrong way. And you should go back, recalibrate, reassess, check the course guide, see where you went wrong, and then not climb over that gate. There are rocks you will be climbing over, however. You can climb over rocks, not gates. Difference. And then the car flags. So we have some fast teams on the course. They'll be starting at 8:45 in the morning, the last wave. And those fast teams really would like to not be involved in the congestion of the course, which because they will be passing most every team on their way around the lake. And so they're going to be dealing with congestion all day. To make their lives a little bit easier and help them get to the finish line in a timely fashion so that they don't have to be held up, we are giving the fast teams little car flags to put on their cars, which will signify to you and all the other teams that they are indeed a privileged fast team and they should be allowed to get through as fast as possible because they have a fast runner and they're going for time. These car flags were purchased online during a South American countries special. So you may see Bolivia, you may see Brazil, El Salvador. Some of your favorite South American countries will be on display. That is the only reason. It has no other significance. But please yield to the car flags. And we're going to make another note about car flags in a few slides, so stay tuned.
All right, one of the special legs on the course, this is going to be our first pre-race briefing ever interrupted by dogs. But
also dogs on the course, be aware.
Yes. As you're entering Watkins Glen, first of all, you're going to have your safety vest. There are several legs on the course where we require a safety vest. You're also required to have a safety vest on anytime after 7 p.m. So if you leave an exchange point at 6:45, it might be a good idea to have your safety vest on, even if it's not otherwise marked as needing that. When you come into Watkins Glen, there is a section that has been newly reconstructed and the lane is very narrow. It is supposed to be coned off to create a running lane for you. Please stay within the coned section. As you wind your way through Watkins Glen, which will be marked with the pavement markings like you saw before, you will return to Route 414 and you will see a sidewalk with an arrow that clearly indicates to get up onto the sidewalk. This will be a much more pleasant running experience for you than the shoulder of that busy road.
Non-lethal, yeah.
Yes. You will be going over some railroad tracks. You'll be going past a couple of locked gates to the Cargill Salt Factory. Those will be on your left. You don't have to cross those gates, but the sidewalk is the place to be through there. You'll then get to Clutie Park, which I think is Clute Park, but I still call Clutie Park. which has been completely revamped in these past 2 years to include a welcome center with actual bathrooms. There are also some restrooms that they call the outdoor restrooms, but they're not exposed to the elements, like they're just in a different pavilion. So there are plenty of restrooms with running water in the park. This will come as great news to the cycling teams who might want to have a change of clothes, a chance to warm up, but these will be open to all participants. This brings us to a new exchange point, which is lakeside, very beautiful, hopefully not too windy.
Real nice.
And there's a new path that will take you around the back of the park, right along the lakeside, over to a small kayak parking lot. It's all marked. At that point, you will rejoin Route 414 in the shoulder and continue on your way.
Special note about the safety vests. We will be providing your safety vest when you pick up your packet on Saturday. It will be part of your goodie bag equipment. So you don't have to bring a safety vest. It's cheap and flimsy. You won't want to use it for any other purpose, but you do need to have it with you on the course for all those legs that are designated safety vest legs, as well as after 7 p.m.
And yes, you are allowed to wear your own safety vest if you brought it, as long as it is bright enough and provides enough coverage. Don't just put a piece of reflective tape on the back of your shirt. That's not sufficient. But anything that a normal person would recognize as a safety vest is allowed. And certainly you can wear that any leg of the course. It doesn't have to only be the designated legs.
And if you have any questions about your safety vest, feel free to bring it to packet pickup and we'll take a look at it and give you the thumbs up or the thumbs down.
As you come out of Watkins Glen straight up, because you enjoyed that nice downhill into Watkins Glen, you will come to one of the most congested, busy,
god awful,
dare we say chaotic exchange points on the course, and that is Hector Falls. Hector Falls does not have a dedicated parking lot. So the team vehicles are being rerouted through the town of Burdett. They will not be traveling up 414 with you, and they will be expected to park along the shoulder of County Road 5, where state troopers will help to direct traffic. Volunteers will be there to help people find a parking spot. But it is very important to observe the dedicated crossing point at this location. As indicated by Jeff's cursor on the screen, there will be a volunteer on either side. Do not cross until they tell you it is safe to do so. One caveat for this exchange point is that the fast teams, the car flag teams, will be allowed to go up Route 414 and park at this telephone company parking lot, which is indicated here with the arrow. That's only going to be a couple of team vehicles. So please, if you are on the course and you do not have a car flag and you see a team vehicle veer up Route 414, do not follow them. Cars who approach this exchange point who didn't take the detour and were supposed to could be disqualified. That's a safety issue.
Yep.
What we've offered to try to reduce the congestion is a little resting point. Grist Iron Brewery is a spot that has pretty ample parking. They're just a short way up from the exchange point. If you know some of the other teams in the race, it would be an excellent idea to try to coordinate with them in Watkins Glen at the Clutie Park exchange point and double up. So one vehicle comes up to the Hector Falls exchange and brings two teams runners, and waits, while the other team vehicle advances to Grist Iron and waits there. And then you can all reunite, you can get back into the cars with the correct teams and then continue on your way. But that's a good way to keep your sanity through that section of the course. If if you can do it, if you want to, you know, on social media, try to coordinate with people, that would be great. It increases your friend group for this event.
And you might be asking yourselves, well, why don't we use grist iron as the exchange point if it's got a parking lot? Well, that's because it would make the leg like 8 miles long and it would be all uphill, and nobody wants that. So there just are no good parking lots in that area. So we have to use Hector Falls, and we've got to work together to get through it. We'll get through it. We'll do it with your help.
And do know for that exchange, I'm sorry, for that leg, the runner who begins at Hector Falls is beginning the longest leg of the race, which is a 10K right in the middle of the course. We do provide a water stop for runners on that section. That's the only time you're going to see on-course water for non-cycling teams, for the general running public. So please do plan to avail yourself of the water that will be on that course for that leg.
It's about halfway through the 10K.
Billy's Burgundy Barn is exactly as the name describes it, except it will also have porta potties, which are not pictured here.
Also not pictured here is Billy, but this is his
Yes.
Burgundy Barn.
He might be in the barn.
He lives up here somewhere. This is his hay barn.
I think he's in the barn.
Billy.
But so vehicles, this is another one where the vehicles will not be approaching with the runner. The runner will be coming up the road in the view that we're looking at, headed toward that exchange. The vehicles will actually be coming from the direction of the parking sign. So even though it shows an arrow that parking is to the right, that does not mean you drive up there and turn right. It means you will have been coming from that direction, and the parking is along the shoulders of the road there. Please, if you're parking along the shoulder of a road, make sure you've pulled off far enough that other cars can still get past you. No one wants to be the vehicle that blocks everybody behind them, or we don't want you to be that vehicle, and hopefully you don't want to be. The Girl Scouts will be running this exchange point, and their job is to make sure that you don't crowd the shoulders and get into the roadway and cause a dangerous situation. So please be nice to the Girl Scouts and listen to them when they cross your runner across the street. This is not a place, even though you're no longer on the highway, it's not a place to dash across the road.
You might get a cookie. So there are a couple exchanges on this course where you do need to park on the shoulder of the road. Old 14er, Hector Falls, Billy's Burgundy Barn. There just aren't parking lots in that area. And so you need to park on the shoulder, on the side of the road. So pay attention to those and make sure you're off the road.
This is either everybody's favorite leg or least favorite leg of the course. This is the off-road trail running adventure.
Mad scramble.
Through a prison wastewater treatment plant. Well, not through the plant, around it.
We're not making this up.
And a drug treatment facility. Yeah, no, this is true. Oh, and
Recycle World.
Yeah, a former psychiatric facility and Recycle World. Yes.
Down here at the bottom, where 6 things are listed, 5 of those are true.
And we're not, I mean, it could be a mongoose too, but.
Yeah, that, not to give away anything, but yeah, that mongoose could be out there. Jackie will cover the snowplow.
Yes. So you definitely need a safety vest, and you do not want the bike teams following you on this one. This is going to be the one part on the course where bikes should not follow the runner under any circumstances. It is not suitable. We have an alternate route for the cyclists, which is equally nice, but better suited for bikes.
It goes right here.
Then you will reunite at the lake.
Nice downhill. Yep.
You will notice the inset on the lower left-hand corner here and wonder, what is that strange rusty metal object that those runners are trying to navigate around? That is the infamous snowplow. There is a snowplow in the middle of the course, right in the running lane. I guess they didn't anticipate was going to be a running lane when they left the snowplow there. It will be signed that you need to go around that snowplow. You might, hypothetically, there may have been a runner or 20 in the past who have come to the snowplow, been convinced that there's no way they would be expected to go around a snowplow, and then turn and wander off into the woods, never to be seen again. Don't be that person.
That snowplow has been there for 13 years. It's not going anywhere. We have no idea why it's there, but be ready for it. Now, after you've dashed around the snowplow and through the psychiatric hospital and penitentiary and hopefully didn't get mugged in the process, you're going to come into Sampson State Park through that gate that we previously showed you a picture of that will be closed, that you're going to scamper around and into the park. Sampson State Park has gone through a number of changes during pandemic times, and so we have had to adapt. If you've done this race before, this will be a different experience in Sampson. Forget everything you ever knew about Sampson. It's totally different. There's cabins, there's RVs all over the place. It's totally different. It's like a subdivision right now. So there are still 2 exchange points within Sampson, one at the south end, one at the north end, and a very short distance between the 2. But don't worry, you have a direct shot as a vehicle. You don't need to rush or hurry. You'll get to the second exchange point. The new first exchange down here at Sampson South, as designated by this little yellow dot, is a little bit further on than before. So you'll go on the lakeside trail, you'll run along the lake as a runner, and you'll come up to this exchange point, and your vehicle, your team vehicle, will no longer enter the auxiliary entrance of Sampson, which was kind of a mad scramble through the forest. Now you are going to enter the main gate at Sampson. You're going to come down as a vehicle, go 3/4 of the way around the roundabout and come down. And this is another exchange where you will park on the shoulder of the road. It's a big, wide park road. Sampson State Park used to be an air base. It used to be a military base. So the roads are very big and unnecessarily big for a state park, but that just means there's more parking. So you can park on both sides of the road. You probably won't encounter any other vehicles. And then your runner will disembark, go around the corner to the exchange point, and then you'll pick up your returning runner and you will turn right and you will follow the flow. This section right in here, you're going to be going along with the runners. The vehicles will continue straight right up to the parking lot of the next exchange, no turns. The runner will take a left, go all the way down to the lake. It's quite beautiful. There's a marina, there's docks, there's a beach, and you will run along the lake, and then you will climb back up through the campground, past the park office, and rejoin the road along with your vehicles. And then you'll take a little detour through the woods. That detour is going to be, it's basically a footpath. It's not a road anymore. And then you'll come up to the second exchange. The second exchange is also in a different spot. It used to be at it used to be here, but now it's up here right where you're about to exit Sampson. So once you make that exchange, both runners and vehicles will exit Sampson through the north gate and continue up East Lake Road to the next exchange. So to recap, new route for the runners and vehicles, new exchange points within Sampson, lots of construction, hopefully on a Sunday that we've been told it will not be going on. If you've enjoyed the pedestrian bridge in the past, that is currently under construction, frowny face. And as we said at the beginning of this presentation, there will be no pavement markings in Sampson State Park. You will be following the lawn signs, and it is your responsibility to know the course. So that's Sampson in a nutshell. And that is on the east side of the lake. It's towards the end of your day.
And if you've been through those roads of Sampson before, you'll know it's in your vehicle's best interest to go slowly, but it's also important for runner safety for your vehicle to go slowly. Again, look at the distance your vehicle has to travel in a straight line. It's not very far. There's no need to race to the next exchange point. You will not beat your runner. You're going to be okay. Or I'm sorry, your runner is not going to beat you. You're going to be totally fine. So it's a nice time to stay to the right, go nice and slowly, while the runners are staying to the left and everybody is safe even when they're together.
Now we have some cutoff times in this race. Two cutoff times at the second half of the course and one cutoff time on the first half of the course. The first cutoff is not really, it's an early cutoff. That means it's kind of a reverse cutoff. You can't proceed beyond that point before a certain time. So at Exchange 7, at the Glenora Exchange, we have a limit, we have a time of 10 o'clock where if you arrive before 10 o'clock in the morning, you are going to be held until 10 o'clock. And the reason for this is because in the past, some teams have grossly overestimated their pace, underestimated their pace. They went way faster than they estimated. So they were in the wrong start wave and they overran all of the volunteers. And that is not a pleasant experience for anyone, because if you're a runner, you don't have volunteers to help you along the way. And if you're a volunteer, you feel terrible because you feel like you weren't in position for the runner in time. So this is not going to happen this year. If you get to Glenora before 10 o'clock, you'll be held until 10 o'clock. On the second half of the course, on the back half, we have two cutoff times where if you don't make the cutoff time, unfortunately, you will be stopped and you will not be allowed to continue. This is for safety because you're not going to finish before dark, and we are not allowed to be on the course after dark. So at Sampson State Park, which we just went over, at the north end, the second exchange in Sampson, you need to be clear of that exchange by 6:30 p.m. And then at Bottomless, which is exchange 20, which is the last exchange on the course, you have to be there by 7:57 p.m. because if you're not, then you're gonna overrun sunset.
Just to say a couple things about this. If you estimated your pace correctly, there is no risk. You won't be held at Glenora and you won't be stopped at the end of the race. If your pacing is incorrect, then it's possible you ended up in the wrong start wave. That's the only situation in which these would be invoked. And to be clear, these clock runner arrivals, okay? So your runner has to make it out of Sampson State Park by 6:30. If your vehicle is stuck in traffic, you do not need to stop with the volunteers and ask if you've been stopped or whether you need to proceed, try to track down your runner. No, as long as your runner clears the exchange by 6:30, you are free to continue. At 7:57, if you're parked at Bottomless and your runner isn't there yet, our volunteers are going to ask you to collect your runner and head directly back to the finish line, because it wouldn't be safe for your last runner to start at that point.
Just to underline that point, there's no unofficial running. There's no, well, I missed the exchange, can we just continue anyway and be unofficial? We can't do that because then it's unsafe. Then you're on the course, even unofficially, after dark, and then bad things could happen. So if you're asked by the volunteers, if you're told by the volunteers that you missed the cutoff, please do not argue with them, collect your runner, and then you may proceed to the finish and get your chili and your finisher food, but do not continue running even unofficially. It's not okay. Jackie loves doing this slide. She requests it every year.
I'm just going to let this slide sit here for a second because I think it says and shows it all. Well, don't show it all. That's the main point, right? Do not use your own made up restroom along the side of the road. There are other people around, and befouling the course is a reason for disqualification. Nobody wants to receive the call the morning after the race from an angry property owner who has a videotape of you running down the course and dropping your drawers in their front yard. So please don't do that. Don't do that. We will have porta potties at many of the exchange points. They're listed in the course guide. Please plan accordingly. But even better, the Finger Lakes is a mecca of wine, small businesses. In Watkins Glen, there's even a Walmart. these places have bathrooms, and they have bathrooms that are more delightful than a porta potty. So please try to be resourceful. You're in a vehicle, your runner is still running, you've got plenty of time. Find yourself a nice bathroom and leave the porta potties for the people who have no other options. Again, if you are feeling that the line is long at a particular bathroom, ask yourself, am I the next runner? Do I need to do this right here, right now? And if the answer to either of those questions is no, you might be best served getting in your vehicle and finding a different bathroom.
All right, let's talk about team tracking. So during the Seneca7, we have lots of teams and a large course. It's 77 miles long. And we, for various reasons, need to know where you are on the course. And we have approached this problem in the past quite successfully with team tracking. So your team is required during the day to log your arrival time at each exchange point. And we provide you a web app for doing that. And your web app, once this video goes live, you will be able to find the web address of your team tracking page on your team link. So the same page that you've been logging your t-shirt sizes, your estimated pace, your runner names, there's now a new field that will say link for live team tracking. And it's going to look like this down here at the bottom. You're going to copy and paste that into your web browser. You can use a phone, you can use a tablet, you can use a computer, you can use a laptop. This is going to be your personal team tracking page. And it's going to look like something like this when you first start it up. It's going to show the next exchange. It's going to show you your team name, your bib number. It's going to give you a guesstimate for when you'll arrive at the next exchange, the runner. And then it's going to give you a place where you can log the arrival time, that's time of day, into the tracker. So when you get to Roy's Marina, you're going to put in 7:15, 7:20, 7:23, whenever your runner arrived there. When you put in that time, seconds are optional. So there's a separate field showing 00. You don't have to put in the seconds if you're not really too worried about that. More competitive teams will want to put in their seconds because it will give you a more accurate pace and a more accurate time. But you don't have to keep track of seconds. You can just put in the time. Now,
Beth, if I'm at the exchange and it didn't immediately log my time, should I just keep pressing the button until it works?
that's a great question. No, you should not. You may be in a limited cell service area, which happens on the course. You may have a terrible smartphone. You may not know how to operate technology. For all of these reasons and more, do not keep pushing the button because it'll keep logging your time. Another point is when you get to the finish line, and we're going to be checking over the course of the day if any teams are not logging on their team tracker. If you are not logging, you may get a nice phone call from Jackie or a not so nice phone call reminding you pleasantly that you need to be logging, because when you get to the finish line, if you don't have any times logged, you're not going to get your finisher medals. And that will be a significant, serious disappointment for all your team members who will blame you, not us, for your inability to complete your responsibilities and get your times in so you can get your finisher medals.
I am always pleasant on the first phone call because I understand maybe people are confused at first, but just remember, if you're getting a phone call from me, I'm out on the course trying to keep everything running smoothly. So that might not be the best use of my time. So if I have to call you again, don't make me call you again.
Don't do it. Yeah, not pleasant. Also, there were some teams in the past who thought, well, geez, I will just log all of my times the first 5 minutes of the race, and then that will be taken care of for the rest of the day. Well, yours truly spent some time writing code to prohibit you from doing that. So that's not going to work anymore. So you can't sit there and hit the add button 20 times. Just wait and do it at the exchange point when you actually arrive there. And that will make your life easier and our lives easier. So this is to give you a little more information about how the team tracker works. This is a more complete version. This is a team that is now about to get to Hector Falls down at the south end of the course. So they've logged the first 10 exchanges with their arrival times, time of day. And a couple things to note: if you enter a time incorrectly, there's a little edit button. So you can go back and you can fix your time for an exchange that you've already completed. You also have a little remove button. So the last exchange that you hit, if you hit the wrong time, you can hit the remove button, and it will step back and it will delete that last exchange, so it can give you the opportunity to enter it again. Now, also at the bottom of your team tracker, it will give you your arrival, your estimated arrival at the next exchange point, so that your team can strategize about going up the road and making sure you're at the exchange in time to meet that runner. It will also give you an estimated finish time. So this may help you if you are worried about cutoff times, or if you're worried about maybe you've got a bus ticket back home and you want to make the bus. That will give you a little estimate based on your current pace, which may vary throughout the day. However you're doing at that point, it'll tell you what time you're expected to finish at the end. Why do we need team tracking? Well, there's a couple different reasons. One, it allows us to provide you interactive live results. So if you go to the live team tracker on race day, you will actually see your team moving around the lake in real time at your exact position on the course. And it will also give you live splits and information about how you're doing as you're going.
And that's something you can share with friends and family who might want to spectate, who cannot be at the exchange points.
Social distancing. So this is a fun thing for people around the world too. Also, the day after the race, the live team tracker turns into a non-live replay tracker for your team. You can actually go back, and in 7 minutes, you can replay the entire race, and you can see how your team did as it moved around the course, and just in 7 minutes. So look for that on the website. It also provides you with the ever popular roadkill report. If you're not familiar with that term, it's used in running relay circles to indicate how many teams you passed or how many teams passed you over the course of the day. So you want roadkill, you don't want to be roadkill. And that roadkill report will be available after the race as well. Now, another reason for why we do this is it really helps our volunteers, and it helps us, your race directors, manage the flow of the day and figure out where people are. So if we know where you are, we can better adapt to situations as they occur on the road. We can help direct volunteers. Everybody has a better sense of how things are going and when they need to be in a certain place. And the other thing that we mentioned way at the beginning of this slide presentation, down at the bottom of your tracker, there will be special alerts that you have to be on the lookout for. And they're color coded in the universal color coding for universal alerts. And if it's something you really need to pay attention to, it will be in a brighter color. But make sure you check the bottom of your tracker after each exchange, see if there's a message there, because that's where we will post alerts if we need to get them out to you immediately. We have 24 bike teams this year. That means 24 teams have elected to go around the course without a motorized vehicle. That means in addition to running their 13 or so miles, they're going to be biking around 66 miles, which is a long day. That's a lot of physical activity. And sometimes during the Seneca7, we are confronted with inclement weather. We've had snow, we've had rain, we've had wind, we've had hail. We've actually had sunshine on occasion as well. But these bike teams, they're out in it for the entire day, and you can understand how difficult a day that is. And we want to give a quick salute to these 24 teams that are committed to biking over the course of the day with no motorized vehicle support whatsoever. If you're a bike team, we appreciate you. We understand what you're going through, and we want to make things better for you. So if you were a bike team, you got priority registration. And normally the Seneca7 is a mad scramble and usually sells out within 1 or 2 minutes of opening. on October 31st. Well, the bike teams get an entire day. They can do it at their leisure. They can do it. They're assured an entry. They also get an extra goodie bag at packet pickup next week in Geneva. The bike teams are going to get a special goodie bag packed chock full of extra bonus goodies just for the bike teams. Now on the course, we mentioned before that bike teams will have water available to them. They will also not be required to take the vehicle detours. They can, in almost every case, follow their runners. There are special needs bags, which will be delivered to Clutie Park in the South End, so that anything that they want to pack and have available to them at the halfway point, they can do that. There is a Red Jacket Orchards refresh station in Clutie Park with juice and treats. And there is also the Trek bicycle staff will be there in Clutie Park to provide the special needs bags in addition to any bike repairs that might be needed during the race. Afterwards, you get special bamboo bike racks at the Finger Lakes Welcome Center, and then we have a fastest bike team award. And it's amazing to us always how fast some of these bike teams go, because it is a very long day and a very difficult day. And you would be surprised, you need to keep moving. A lot of people think, well, we're sitting in the parking lot waiting for our team for a long time. If you're a bike team, you don't get to the exchange too much ahead of your runner. So pretty much the entire day you're moving, and that can be a difficult day. There's also a special challenge unrelated to the Seneca7. It's called the Finger Lakes Challenge, whereby people can sign up and make it a goal for themselves to bike around each of the lakes of the Finger Lakes. There's 11 of them. Well, as a bike team, you will have completed the Seneca Lake portion of the Finger Lakes Challenge. So you're going to receive a special Seneca Lake sticker in your goodie bag. And if you choose in the future, you can sign up for the Finger Lakes Challenge and you won't have to bike around Seneca Lake again because you've already done it.
Sorry, I got so distracted by all these emojis I could use and dogs. We also have teams that have opted to enter the race as a way of fundraising for a charity of their choice. Asterisk, a charity of their choice from our charity partners who help out with this event. And we're super appreciative for those teams who have opted to support our partners. And I can tell you that the charities are incredibly happy to have that support and visibility on the race course. So you will see at the various exchange points, volunteers from the charity partners who are welcoming you and cheering you along as you go. The charity teams have a special indicator on their bib that they are charity teams.
Not technically true.
Oh,
but we could put a sticker on them or something. Yeah.
Sorry, maybe one of those emojis that I was just using for the bike teams.
Guess who was in charge of the bib numbers?
Okay. So just take special note of these bib numbers. And when you see them on the course, give these people an extra round of applause, because this is very, very important, especially as we're coming out of COVID or still in it. The partners that benefit from these race entry fees are very appreciative. It's a bonus above and beyond what the donations are from the race directly. Once we finish, these are extra contributions that go directly to the charities. So thank you for doing this.
Fun fact, the bib numbers for the bike teams do have a special little bike icon on them. All right, our volunteers.
Yes, speaking of volunteers, so I did mention that the charity partners who receive proceeds from the race are out there on the course helping you get where you need to be. They probably have other things they could be doing on a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon, Saturday for packet pickup, Sunday for race day, but they are choosing to be out there and with you and helping you find your way around. So if you feel so inclined, it would be great to say a hello or a thank you, or to at least follow their very gentle and kindly given instructions not to dash across the road. They're there to help. And I feel like this is kind of combining two items, but one of our partners is Finger Lake Zero Waste. You'll see them out on the course at Lakewood Vineyards, and they help us to ensure that everything that we're doing for the race is environmentally friendly. We strive to be a zero waste event. Everything you'll be provided at the finish line is compostable.
So you will find compostable stations at the Finger Lakes Welcome Center, as well as recycling stations. You will not find waste stations because we don't produce any landfill waste. So if you produce landfill waste, we do expect you to transport it off the course with you and dispose of it in a proper place. We will provide compostable bins for your compost needs. That wraps it up from here. We've got a big week ahead of us. We've got our request in for beautiful weather next Sunday. Because you have made it this far, you qualify as having watched the pre-race briefing for your team. You are going to find a little space under your team link. If you follow your team link, you'll find a place where you can enter the teammates' names who have watched this briefing. Please do that because every team is required to watch this briefing by at least one team member. So that can be found in your team link. Make sure you update that. We'll be checking. And have a great race. Be safe. Next week, there will be 2 question and answer sessions, which we'll do live on Zoom. Check the website for the schedule for that. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to email us, or you can attend the live question and answer sessions next week and ask those questions. Because if you have the question, chances are about 383 other people also have that question.
We're very excited to see you out there. We're happy to be back.
Yep. Good luck, everyone. We'll see you next week.